Hi guys, I'm Trainer Dan. I don't know what that was, but it was a half wave. I was pointing and waving, the same thing. Right, so today we are looking at a close grip press, which is emphasising work through on the triceps. We're also going to hit the chest and a little bit on the anterior delts, but very, very minutely. So it is very similar, obviously, to a bench press. Well, I don't know, you might not even know what it is. Well, it is, it's similar to a bench press. But we're taking our grip a lot closer. So there's a few things I kind of want to touch on, and that is really about your positioning with your hands, and then also dropping in onto where it kind of wants to sit on the body in that elbow position. And maybe some other things, I don't know, I might fire something else out. But this is your main thing. Now, we can either go really close, but I don't like it where your hands are touching, not with a straight bar. It's not so bad with an angled bar. And the reason I don't like that is because there's a lot of strain on the wrists, especially if you're going to be lifting significant amount of weight. So I find, even though you're going to get more of a hit on the triceps when you're super close, and when I say super close, hands touching, it's just too much stress on the wrist. So I really don't recommend that at all. So go a little bit wide. So instead of going here, this would be what I would term as a close grip, a real close grip with your triceps. And even then, when you've got a significant amount of weight on with a straight bar, it's going to put some pressure through the wrist. So make sure, perhaps if you're a beginner, I would go a little bit wider. And I'll be honest, I always tend to go a little bit wider because I manage to work through my triceps by keeping my elbows pinned in rather than being dependent on my sort of grip here in that sense, okay? But if we are doing that, we've got lines on the bar, and it's these mid lines. You're going to want your index finger just on this sort of inside of it and on the opposite side, and then you're locking off. Now, my principle with wrists up still kind of stands with this, even though your body will perhaps be screaming at you not to do that. And not in a bad way, it just tends to like to drop back for some reason. Okay, so keeping your elbows pinned in, down to the chest, breathe out as you lift, and make sure you get a nice extension up. Positioning wise on the chest, don't make it too low. So people tend to bring it right down here to the sort of lower rib cage, and that's not a good position. It takes too much weight out of the arms. You can see there as I drop down, I'm actually losing a lot of emphasis through the triceps, and it's not good. You want the elbows pinned in by the sides, drop directly down, and then you can get a really good, nice squeeze up. And with this, it is quite important to get a nice extension up so you can ensure that you're locking out through the triceps, okay? Next thing, I will go on to the wider grip, and this is where I prefer to kind of sit because I feel as though I can manage my elbows better. When I'm here, my wrist tends to feel a bit cramped when I've got a lot of weight on, and my elbows can tend to stick out, and then I don't feel as though I'm hitting my triceps as well. So what I tend to do is go a tiny bit wider, again, keeping the wrists up and in line, down, keeping the elbows pinned in either side of the chest, and then managing that position on the way up. You're going to have to work hard and think about doing that, because what happens is, as you get tired, you're going to flail the elbows outwards. I don't know if you can see that there. You should be able to see that. I've now positioned my elbows out, and it's just taken a little bit of emphasis out of the tricep, and I don't want that. I want it in because it's a close grip press. So we want it right down, elbows in, and keep them in as you squeeze up. And there is where you're going to get that real emphasis through those triceps. Now, position on the chest, I've already mentioned, don't go too low down. I would say line up with perhaps just under the nipples. That's a good position. There's no need to go too high. So if we were doing a sort of a bench press for the chest, I would say go above the nipples. I don't know, I found that really funny. Above the nipples. Come down just below the nipples with this one. It's going to be a more comfortable position. Elbows tucked in. make sure you fully extend up and keep that squeeze nice and tight. And build your weights up, build your reps up, or movements, whereas you can keep those elbows positioned in. Now, it is a little bit forgivable if you are perhaps putting 1 or 2 strength sets in where you're really trying to bounce your weight up a little bit, and so you can forgive perhaps a few reps where your elbows start sticking out because you're just accustoming yourself to the weight, and I can forgive that. But for the majority of your work, you do need that strict movement because that is what is going to stimulate and work those triceps the best.